mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Magic Software webinar on rapid integration of Salesforce and SAP with pre-configured templates. I'm Tom Hutchins, Marketing Manager of Magic Software UK, Ireland and Nordics, and I'm very kindly joined today by our technical expert from Germany, Torsten Drees, who will be giving a presentation and demo today. So I'm going to just quickly give you an overview of Magic and the SpeedStart rapid integration template concept, and then hand over to Torsten. So Magic has been around 30 years, and we're listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. We're experts in innovative technology, and we focus on supplying your business needs. We operate in over 50 countries, have over 2,500 global partners, and our offices are located from North and South America across Europe, South Africa and Asia. And SpeedStart is a new concept we've come up with because we were finding that while we do many integrations between Salesforce and SAP, and one of the real benefits of the Magic XPI integration platform is its flexibility on the fact that you can use the system to really do any kind of integration you like. We wanted to keep that, but at the same time, we're finding that in many cases, our clients wanted some very standard, or at least certain requirements kept coming up. So what we have is a pre-configured set of integrations between SAP and Salesforce, which enables you to rapidly deploy integration to kind of kickstart your process while still maintaining all the flexibility and functionality that you'd expect from our system. So it's, the integration is built in XPI, it's all part of our system, and it just gives you the most commonly required processes ready out of the box. And this works even if your SAP and Salesforce systems are highly customized. So what we wanted to do was to reduce process times and costs while increasing effectiveness and productivity. This means you need to have effective integration of your applications and systems. So the challenge is to quickly and easily implement the integration solution while also being able to make adjustments and changes in the future and easily perform maintenance and expansion. After all, there's no point in giving you a rapid deployment of a core part of your integration if you're then just going to have to pull the whole thing out, or it's going to make it harder later on. That's not what we wanted to do. The pack, the SAP Salesforce SpeedStart, you have the pre-configured modules, all the resources and templates and the processes ready out of the box, along with our experience of many of these projects. It means that we're able to give very fast and simple integration of SAP and Salesforce, ready for use out of the box, very flexible, very customizable, very easy and inexpensive to maintain, and it's fully certified by SAP and Salesforce, just as all our integrations in these ecosystems are. It means that we're really able to provide very quick integrations between certain objects. So customer accounts, quotes, invoices, and orders in SAP, and we can link these with objects in Salesforce like accounts, contacts, price books, chatter, so that you can get live updates of any movement in your SAP records directly into your Salesforce chatter, and of course other custom objects. So this all works in the background, and we're able to allow you to do more very quickly than you would be able to otherwise. So it works by simply taking the integrations across from SAP and Salesforce, lining up the most commonly integrated pieces. We would be able to present the same kind of logic here between any SAP object, any Salesforce objects, and indeed those of other systems as well. We support many other systems, and we're quite agnostic with them. The reason we have these particular integrations, as I said, is that they're very commonly required, and we saw a demand in the market for SAP and Salesforce, and so that's where we've started. We're able to use Magic XPI and the SpeedStart package to very quickly link these different parts of the records together. So whereas a typical integration project can be complex and lengthy, featuring a lot of custom coding, and where future changes mean more work, with Magic XPI, and even more so with the SpeedStart integration, it becomes fast and simple, repeatable. It's proven and future-proof, and you keep all the flexibility that you would with a regular Magic XPI integration. This is just an out-of-the-box SpeedStart, and then you build upon that. So, thank you for listening to me. I'm going to hand over to Torsten, who is going to give you the presentation that I know you've all turned up to watch.
Thank you, Tom, and a warm welcome from me. My name is Torsten Drees. I'm calling from Germany, and I'm happy to assist you here. I'm also going to show you some slides in advance. Some of the slides you already have seen, but I think I want to give some more detailed information on the SpeedStart package itself and what the content is. And afterwards, I'm going to go into the project itself and show you some examples. And I also want to show you how easy it is to do integration with our Magic XPI integration platform. So first, let's have a more detailed look into the content of the SpeedStart package. This is a slide that Tom already showed. We have on the left side all the components from the SAP ERP system. So we're talking to the FI component, we're talking with the SD and with the MM component. Regarding the FI component, we have a bidirectional synchronization between the customer and accounts on the SAP side, and the accounts and contacts on the Salesforce side. So it doesn't matter on which side there is any change or any new customer and account, it will be automatically synchronized from one side to the other. Of course, there is additional data that has been transferred and is transferred regularly, like partner roles and other things. So there is a lot of data that gets transferred. Also, from the financial part, information like quotes, invoices, orders, and pricing information are being sent to Salesforce. In order to receive those information into Salesforce, we have created some customized objects. So we created our own objects to display information that we get from the quotes and invoices, for example. We have done also an integration of social media. So this means we have an integration of Chatter and Twitter and Facebook and Google Calendar. So whenever there is a new customer that gets created on the SAP side and that's been transferred to Salesforce, we also get a notification within Chatter, and this is something that you can configure. We might also get this information, as I said, within Facebook or Twitter or Google Calendar. In order to have more information regarding the quotes and the invoices, we also transfer pricing information into the price book of Salesforce, and of course we transfer the material master data from SAP to Salesforce. These are things that do not get transferred regularly. This is something that works on demand, but of course the package is created in such a flexible way that it's no problem to make this also happen. On a regular way, so that it gets also transferred once a day or each some hours, something like that. Yeah, of course, there were some things we had to do within SAP and within Salesforce. So the package contains about 3 parts. We have created some components within the SAP. So this is something we can call from the SAP side. We have created a package for Salesforce, which holds all those necessary information like the sales area, the partner roles, and all the other customized objects. And of course, we have the SpeedStart package, which is a project within our Magic XPI integration platform. And this SpeedStart package, this project, is using BAPI and RFC functionality in order to talk with the SAP backend. It uses the Salesforce API to talk to the Salesforce backend, and it uses also mashup functionalities. So we also have integrated links and buttons into the Salesforce user interface that allows you to display information within the sub backend. So there might be an order in Salesforce where you get the most common information, and in order to get the full fledged information, you have something that we call the jumping point that allows you to click on the button, and then the SAP backend gets opened, and you get the full information from the SAP side. So this is once again the overview. We have the sub package with some Z function modules that we have created. We have the customization within Salesforce.com, and we have the Magic XPI project. In order to show you some of the demo scenarios, I will give you a quick and brief overview. So there are certain demo scenarios within the template. For instance, we have a demo scenario that allows you to create a debtor and in SAP and transfer it to Salesforce. Of course, we can modify an account in Salesforce and transfer it back to SAP. We can modify contacts within Salesforce. They get transferred to SAP. We can create sub-objects within Salesforce. As I said, we can jump to SAP from the Salesforce user interface. We have the integration into social networks like Facebook and Twitter. We get information about products and price. And of course, if we create an order within SAP, this order is also being transferred to Chatter. This is one of the demo scenarios. And in order to give you a better overview and a better feeling how this works, I'm going to change into the development environment from our Magic XPI integration platform. And first, I want to give you a brief overview how the integration works and how easy it can be done. And then I want to give you an example of one flow that has been created to show you also how easy it is to adapt and to maintain and to extend such flows. So first, here on the left side, we have the navigation. Within the navigation, we have certain business processes that can be also described with some kind of documentation. So you can have the topology that shows you all the systems that are working with the integration, and you can define the business process itself. So this is some kind of drawing that shows you the process that has been created within the integration platform. And if you later on go into the flows, these are the flows where really something is happening. This is the integration flows where you can see what kind of functionality has been created. So in order to show you how easy it is to work with our platform, I'm just inserting a new flow. So we have an empty flow, and the first thing I want to do is I'm taking the components on the left bottom side, and I'm looking for the SAP component. So if I want to get data from the SAP, I simply drag the SAP icon on the desktop, click on configuration, and then I can decide whether I want to talk to an IDOC or an RFC. I'm talking to the RFC, and then I can enter some information to search for information within SAP. So now there is a connection made in the background to the SAP system that is running somewhere in the cloud, and all the components beginning with ZSD10 are being queried. Might take a second, and now we have the result. So this is the RFC module that we have created for the SpeedStart package. I'm just selecting this, and now I can look for all the functions that we have created within this package. These are around 15 to 20 functions we have created there. So I'm choosing this one. This is a very easy module that is simply reading debtors from the SAP system. So I'm selecting it, and I'm choosing the results to be stored in a variable called c.userblob. Now, while the design time, the studio is talking to the SAP system and is creating a schema based on the content of this module that we are calling. So if I go to our mapper and open all the information, then I can see the contents of this module that I was just calling. And all of you that I'm sure know pretty much the SAP RFCs, you know that there is an import parameter and an import section, and this is the section that needs to be filled with data. So I'm just clicking on this is a zip code, and I'm just entering any zip code that might be hard-coded, that might be filled from within a variable or from other systems. You can do whatever you like. So I'm doing something to enter data, which means give me all the customers that are within this zip code. So this is the first thing I need to do, and that's everything I need to do in order to get data from the SAP. So here you can see that it's really easy, that it's really quick. And now the second thing we need to do is we have to put this information into Salesforce. So next step is we simply put the Salesforce step on the SAP step and click on configuration. And okay, here I see that I have a problem with my resource. Okay, we can take this one. And so now I have to check the object that I want to work with. Of course, the account is the corresponding object to the debtors from the SAP. So I'm selecting the account, and then I simply have to choose an operation. Of course, if I want to enter data, I simply use the insert information or the create operation. So I'm selecting the create. I even have the ability to create and return child objects. So I can do a lot of things within one step. For our small example, we're just using the account object. So that's everything. Now I'm again in a pretty similar configuration dialog that I was before with the SAP. The only difference is that now, of course, I'm having a source, and I need to define the source. You can see the source can be from a lot of types. It can be a database kind source. It can be a flat file source. There are a lot of sources that we can define. In most of the cases in the Magic XPI integration platform, we're using XML-based data. So I simply choose a XML source. I go to the properties, and I have to define the properties of the XML source. So I need to define the data source, which is the variable I have set as a result in the step before. So this is already done. But in order to get the same structure that we had before, I need to select a schema. So I need to go to the directory where the XPI integration platform is saving all the schemas, and somewhere this is the right one. I have to select this schema. So once I've done this, I'm able and ready to map all the fields. So I can expand on the right side, I can expand all data on the left side. Just a second, this is something I've done by mistake. Okay, so now I have all data here, and now I can create the mappings. Sorry. So now I can create the mappings. Name 1 to name, and also name 2 to name, so you can see that I'm able to create more than a one-to-one mapping. I also can do some kind of calculations. So I can go to the properties, and then I can do a calculation here. This means I have a set of functions that allow me to do a lot of things. So I'm looking for the trim function that is trimming all leading and trailing spaces. So I'm trimming the first, using the ampersand to concatenate the second field. And the first calculation is ready. You can see here on the square that this is some kind of calculation. Now I can select the next field. I can say connect on the zip code. Where is the zip code? This is the zip code. I have the street. This is the shipping street, and so on and so forth. So this is the way I'm doing all the connections. So it's very quick. It's very easy. You simply need to connect the source to the destination, and that's for all the fields that are necessary. Once you have done this, you can simply leave the dialog with OK, and that's more or less everything. If you want to extend the flow a bit in order to have error handling, this is also something we can do. For instance, if there is an error, you simply want to send a message to the log file. So I'm putting a message there, error in the flow, and I'm putting it on the same level like the Salesforce, because I have the ability to define conditions. This is what I'm just doing here. So if the error code, this is one of the default functionalities we have within the integration platform. If the error code is not equal 0, then I know that I have an error, so we go the right way. And in order to continue, I just select the go-to, and then I'm retrying the step. And on the left side, I'm doing the condition the other way around. So here it is, the error code must be equal to 0, and then the transportation to Salesforce can be done. So this was a very easy and quick example of how integration can be done between SAP and Salesforce. Of course, this is something very easy, but coming back to the SpeedStart package, we can show you that it is also not that much complicated in order to do the integration, but you have a lot of functionality, and a lot of things have been predefined. And I want to go back to a very simple example. I want to show you one of the flows we have created. And this is the flow that has been defined for an account update on the Salesforce side, where the updated account gets transferred to the SAP side. So this is the whole flow you can see on the screen. You see that it's also not that complicated. There is one thing that is new here in the orange top area on the screen. This is the trigger area within our platform. And this allows you to define triggers. And once this trigger is raised, a certain flow gets started. So here we simply have created a trigger that is raised on an account update. You can see we are listening to the accounts, and the operation we are listening to is updated. Updated within Salesforce means it's updated and insert, so it's both. And here on the top we have the polling interval, so it's done all 5 minutes. This is by the way a recommendation from Salesforce. So each 5 minutes we're polling the accounts in Salesforce and check if there was an update. And if there was an update, the updated account gets stored in the variable SFDC account. So then this flow is running. The first step, we're simply extracting the customer number from SAP into a flow variable. So this is quite an easy mapping. You see here that there are some fields that get transferred, and the important thing is the sub customer number, which is the first field. So these are 3 variables that get filled. Then in the next step, we're checking if the change has been done by the integration user, because if the integration package creates or updates an account that is coming from SAP, there is a certain user, and we're here just checking for this user, because if this user has done the update, then nothing will happen. So this is the first condition that we have here, that the user ID is not equal to the user ID of the integration user. So in case that a human being, let's say a human being has changed the account in Salesforce, then we are running on. We're coming to the next condition, and the next condition is also very easy. We are checking here on the left side. I can show the condition. If the sub customer number is equal 0, and the Salesforce account ID is not equal 0, which means we have a new customer that has been created first time on the Salesforce, then we need to call a BAPI to create a customer. And on the other way around, if there is a sub-customer number already in the Salesforce object, then we know that the sub-customer, the customer must exist on sub, so then we call the change customer BAPI, because there are 2 different BAPIs within SAP. So we always tried to use standardized BAPIs or RFC. So wherever we found them, we were using them. And here you can see that there is a BAPI customer change from data 1 that is being executed. And on the other hand, if we are creating a new one, then there is a BAPI customer create and not change from data. So these are the differences. The mapping is more or less the same and looks similar to what we've seen before. So we have on the left side we have the Salesforce information. On the right side we have the SAP information from the BAPI. And here you can see all the mappings that have been done. And this is the thing we need to customize if we insert this SpeedStart package into customer companies, because they might have some different kind of information, some different kind of fields, and these are the adjustments, the maintenance that we need to do. Okay, so this is one example, and then the flow is quite easy. If we have a create customer, then we are receiving the customer number from the BAPI. And of course, then we need to update the Salesforce object with the new customer number, that we have the mapping between Salesforce and the sub-customer number. Those are simple messages that get sent to the monitor, which is also a default part from within our integration platform. So here you can see that we have created a sub-debtor, and on the left side we send a change message to the monitor. and then we simply have a go-to to the transaction commit. So of course we could also have the same object here on the right side to do the commit, but this is something that is easier. So that's the whole flow. So in 2 sentences, we get the changed or created account from Salesforce. We check if the account already exists in SAP. If it does not exist, a new one gets created. If it exists, the account gets updated, and that's everything that's been done here in this example. Yeah, and this leads me to the end of my presentation. If you have any question, you're welcome to raise them. I'll be staying for a while in this webcast, I guess. So, but before, I'm going to hand over back to Tom.
Okay, thank you, Torsten. So if you have any questions, can ask them through the questions function in the webinar system. I do have one already, actually, Torsten, which is which SAP versions do you support and not support?
Well, the answer is quite easy. We do support all versions of SAP that are currently on the market.
Okay, thank you. So if there's any other questions? Okay, I have one here. Let me just try to unmute you. Tobias, could you go ahead?
Hi. Is there a standard mapping you provide, or do we have to map each and every object manually? Oh, I think I wasn't. Sorry, is there a standard mapping for SAP towards Salesforce and backwards, or is a manual mapping required for each and every document, object?
Tom, I am very sorry, but I did not understand anything.
No, I'm sorry, Tobias. It was very quiet. Could you?
Yeah.
Could you repeat, or if you could type it into the questions box, and then I can read it out.
Okay, so my question is, if you have a standard mapping between Salesforce and SAP for the different objects, or is every object to be manually mapped by the programmer?
Tom, he's very quiet. I'm very sorry, but I did not understand the question. So if it's possible for you, please raise the question using the chat, please.
Yeah, Torsten, I think what he was saying was asking whether we have a standard way of connecting with the various Salesforce and SAP objects, or if each one has to be coded separately.
No, it depends. It depends on what you need to connect. There are thousands of objects within SAP, all those existing BAPIs and RFCs that we can connect. If they represent functionality that we can use, and if we need something where there is no existing or pre-existing module, then of course we can use the development capabilities of SAP and create our own RFCs and BAPIs. And this is more or less the same on the Salesforce side. So there are a lot of standardized objects like account and opportunity and lead and so on and so forth. So if we want to communicate with those objects, this is no problem. And if we need to have customized objects, or also if we need to have customized fields within the accounts object, this is no problem. So it doesn't matter for our platform if if we are using to pre-configured, predefined objects or modules, or if we talk to user-defined or self-defined modules. We support both.
Okay, thank you. I've got another question here. If you poll Salesforce every 5 minutes for changes, is there a problem with hitting governor limits on API calls?
No, there is no problem with hitting the API limits, because we have several possibilities to talk to the Salesforce system, and we can do it in a way that the connection gets opened and that there are not so many API calls that are fired. And of course, if there are there might be certain scenarios where you need more API calls, but we give you the flexibility to define the time and the amount of minutes that are between all those calls. So if you want to do it twice an hour, then you simply change the trigger to be executed every 30 minutes. That's something that's also possible. But the question or the answer is yes, you need to have API calls on your Salesforce organization in order to get the Magic XPI integration platform working with the Salesforce backend.
Okay, thank you. I have another one here about what if we have a scenario where both the customer records are updated in Salesforce and in SAP at the same time? How do we sort out the conflict in this situation?
Well, it depends. It depends on the business process. In this example we have here, we are also checking the time, and if the account has been updated on the second system also, there is a message in the log file, and then an admin needs to decide what to do. But there are also a lot of other scenarios you can do. It simply depends on the process and also on the decision. There are customers that have a leading system. There are customers that do not have a leading system, where both systems have the same priority. So maybe if both systems have the same priority, then you can also have a scenario where the last one wins. So if you because it will never happen that you do the change exactly at the same time, because the integration platform always needs some seconds to transfer the data from one system to the other. So then the last system will win. But as I said, it depends on the definition of the process.
Okay, thank you. So another question here is whether there is an option to use pre-configured flows as a template, such as copying and modifying to fit custom requirements.
I'm not sure if I understood the question exactly, Tom.
So my understanding would be, if you have taken the pre-configured flows, I guess, from the SpeedStart, can these actually be modified in a customer situation?
Yeah, of course. This is the purpose of the whole template. The purpose of the whole template is to get the integration between SAP and Salesforce running within a very short time. So this is something we have pre-configured, and it's very easy to adjust on the customer side, because the flow will more or less remain the same. The only thing that gets changed is that maybe the customer has 10 additional fields on both systems that need to be synchronized also, and this is and these are the adjustments that need to be done when we put the SpeedStart package into a customer system. And of course, if there are changes within the business process, within the integration logic itself, this is also something that needs to be applied then. But the whole template is created in a way that it's very easy to maintain, because of course we support what everyone is calling a service-oriented architecture.
Okay, thank you. I have another one here. Customer has an internally hosted SAP application. How would you connect this to Magic?
It doesn't matter if the system is hosted or not, because we can connect to the system using a SAP gateway, or we can directly connect to it using the IP address. And even if there is only an XIPI that is in front of the system, we can also talk to the XIPI components. So we support all possible kinds of connections.
Okay, another one here is there a standard mapping for objects which are already defined in middleware, such that they don't need to be remapped from the customer?
Of course, as I showed you in the one example, the most common fields like name, address, phone numbers, email addresses, and so on and so forth, they are all already predefined. They are pre-mapped. So this is what is already existing, and the only thing what needs to be adjusted are all the other fields around it.
Okay, and I have one here as well asking around the licensing principles and just what the costs are based around.
The licensing principles are quite easy. The license is according to the number of parallel threads, and this means this is more or less the number of parallel processes that are being executed at the same time. And this, of course, depends on the amount of data that is being transferred between all the different systems that are taking part, or that are part of the integration scenario. So we start in a lot of cases with 4 parallel threads, and especially within SAP and Salesforce integration, we have most of the customers, they have something between 4 and 8 threads, and this is of course the license. There is nothing you need to change within the project if you buy more threads. So the only thing is that you need to install a new license, and that's everything that you need to do.
Thank you. And actually, I've just got an expansion on that question, which is whether there would be additional fees in the Salesforce end due to any extra workloads caused by Magic integration.
Can you please repeat, Tom?
Yeah, sorry. Whether there would be any fees from Salesforce caused by any additional workload from the Magic integration.
Tom, it seems that the line is down. I cannot hear you anymore.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now,
okay.
Now I can hear you. You were interrupted in the middle of the sentence.
Oh, no problem, sorry. I couldn't tell. Would there be any additional fees from Salesforce due to any extra workload caused by the Magic integration?
No. There are no extra fees.
And for support purposes, is the product recognized and acknowledged by SAP? I'm pretty sure the answer on that one is it's fully supported. Is that correct?
All the components and connectors and adapters we have are fully certified. So we got a certification from the SAP regarding our SAP connector, and we also certified by Salesforce. And we also have to do a recertification in case of SAP. We need to do this all 3 years. I'm not sure what the period within Salesforce is, but but in a regular way, we have to recertify our components within all the vendors that offer certification. So each one that is using the Magic integration platform can be sure that you will always use a certified product.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's all the questions that we've had today. So I'd like to thank everyone for turning up and for their excellent questions. It was a very interesting question answer session. Big thank you to Torsten for the presentation.
Welcome.
Of course, you're always very welcome to contact us with any questions or support requests you might have, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much, and hope you have a good afternoon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.